Hi, friends. Welcome back to another Sun, Moon, and Stars lesson. This is week 9, day 3. For today's lesson, all you need is that thinking cap and your listening ears. So let's get started. Today, we are going to start with a song that we learned many lessons ago. The song is Sun, Moon, and Stars. Last time, we sang this song to the tune of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Do you know that tune? That one. We're going to sing it together today. Now, I know that you already know this song because we've sung it a few times before, but I'm going to sing it with you. I'll whisper sing, and I want to hear you sing as loudly as you can. I'll keep my mouse alongside the lines to help you keep track of where we are. Get that singing voice ready. The sun shines over us all, I see it sparkle like a ball. The moon lights up the night sky, I see it glimmer bright and high. Stars make patterns in the night, I see them twinkle faint and bright. Good job, keep going. The sun, the moon, and the stars, I see them all from afar. Whenever I look into the sky, I see them there way up high. Good job. Now that your body's had a little bit of movement and you've used your voice, let's get started with our lesson. Today's learning target says, I can ask and answer questions about night based on the text, what the sun sees, what the moon sees. Now, I want to pull your attention to the word night. Because in today's lesson, we're only going to read and discuss the night. We will read parts of our text, what the sun sees, what the moon sees. Then we'll stop and look at those illustrations and the words and discuss and ask and answer questions about night. Now, this text that we're reading, remember, it's the book that when you start on the front, it talks about the sun. Then you turn the book, and on the back, it starts talking about the moon. Do you remember that book? It looks like this. Now, of course, because we are discussing night, we will only be looking at this part of our text. I will read part of the text, and then we'll stop, and we'll ask and answer questions about what we see and how it relates to night. Are you ready to read and listen? Here's our first portion of the text. I'll make myself smaller so that you can focus on the book.
The moon sees bright stars. The moon sees quiet barnyards.
Our text said the moon sees quiet barnyards. Take a close look at that illustration. What do you see in the illustration that helps you know that this is a quiet barnyard? What do you see? Yes, we see animals sleeping here, 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 and we see that most of the animals are still and that they're not moving. The author also gave us a clue word. The author said the quiet barnyards. Quiet is an adjective, and it's describing that barnyard. And we know that quiet means very little noise. So that helps us know what kind of barnyard we're looking at. You know, we should probably add that word quiet to our adjectives chart. Let's remember that word for later. Now, I forgot to mention that during this text, it's going to say the moon sees. And we've already discussed that. Does the moon have eyes? No. But that this is the author using their imagination to think about what would the moon see if the moon were to look down at Earth at night. Let's keep reading our text to see what else we can discover.
The moon sees hooting owls. The moon sees empty streets.
Okay, looking really closely at the illustration, what do you see that helps you know that it's an empty street? What do you see? That's right. We can see that there are no people and that there are no cars driving on these streets. We can see that there's darkness covering the street and that the light, that's just coming from the lights that are on within the florist shop, right? The author also gave us a clue. Empty streets. What kind of streets? Empty streets. Empty means nothing at all. So there's nothing at all on the streets. Empty is an adjective because it's describing the street. Remember that word for later, and we'll put it on our adjectives chart. Let's keep reading to see what else we can see at night and what the moon can see at night.
The moon sees silent playgrounds.
In this part of the text, it says, the moon sees silent playgrounds. Look closely at that illustration. What in the illustration helps you to know that it's a silent playground? What do you see that tells you it's a silent playground? Good. I can see that the equipment on the playground, it's completely still. And that's because there are no children playing or talking or running around on the playground. Nowhere on the illustration does it say that it's silent, but you're able to look and then describe what you see. Plus, the author gave us an adjective. This time, do you think you can think about the adjective? The moon sees silent playgrounds. What's the adjective in that sentence? What kind of playgrounds? Silent playgrounds. We'll have to add that one into our adjectives chart. And silent means that there's no sound. Silent playgrounds. We've gone through most of the moon section of the book, and we've looked closely at those illustrations to help us ask and answer some questions. And we found some adjectives. Let's go ahead and put these adjectives on our adjective chart. Now, all of these adjectives are from different books and poems that we've read. But the adjectives that are in bold, that are boxed in by yellow, those are the new adjectives, right? These adjectives are quiet, empty, and silent. Can you read those adjectives back to me? Good. Those are words that are describing what the moon sees, right? Quiet, empty, and silent. It seems like the world is quiet when the moon is looking down onto the earth. Do you think that that's a good thing to say? Yeah, I think so. I think those words are giving us a big clue about what the moon is seeing. Now, I was able to ask and answer some questions with you, but this time we're going to read that whole section of what the moon sees. And as we're reading, this is going to get kind of wild. You are going to just shout out what the moon sees, anything that's happening in the illustration, and that will help us to make a running list of what the moon sees. Are you ready? Okay, remember, just yell out what you see. And maybe you might want to write some notes or write down some things that the moon sees. And I'll do it with you too.
The moon sees bright stars.
So I see stars and I see a sleeping animal.
The moon sees quiet barnyards. The moon sees hooting owls.
I see an owl in darkness. What do you see?
The moon sees empty streets. The moon sees silent playgrounds. The moon sees sleeping children. And the moon watches until the sun comes up. The end.
Okay, good job. I was making a list and I was shouting out some things that I saw, and I heard you say some things too. We're going to add just a few of these things, but not every single thing, onto our The Moon Sees list. Now, this was kind of the list that I was writing down off to the side. I saw, show me a thumbs up if you saw these things too. I saw bright stars. I saw quiet barnyards. I saw hooting owls. I saw empty streets. I saw silent playgrounds, and I saw sleeping children. Now, of course, I said I saw, but we know that these are things that the moon sees. The moon sees all of these things. Now, these things are quite different from what the sun sees, aren't they? What all could you add to the list? Give me 2 things that you can add to what the moon sees. Good. And of course, is this happening during the day or at night? At night. Good. Now, that learning target challenged us to ask and answer questions about night based on the text, what the sun sees, what the moon sees. Were we able to ask and answer questions about night? We were, and we used that text the whole time. During our next lesson, we will focus on asking and answering questions about daytime. You did a wonderful job today, friends. I will see you next time. Bye.